then we make it money sound. Money going up, money never coming down. And we do it, then we make it money sound. Money going up, money never coming down. Money.
Welcome to Saturn Sessions. This is a little supplementary podcast I want to try out. One where I can yap about my interests, kind of like how I do on my streams, but a little more focused. I tend to digress a lot during my streams, if you've ever seen those. That, and I want to be able to talk about my more niche interests without having to worry about if the YouTube algorithm like it or not. Like, for example, the NBA Jam 50 video. Like, that was a fun video to make, and I feel like it adds value. Because if anyone ever want to figure out how to run NBA Jam 50, they could just go to my video and watch it. But, you know, that's not gonna sell truckloads of Coca-Cola, know what I'm saying? the same way a video about Nova Online picking his nose would. So, why the name Saturn Sessions? Well, one is a reference to my series of short 3-song EPs called Smoke Sessions. And yes, that intro theme was a teaser for Smoke Sessions 3. Thank you for asking. And then 2, the Sega Saturn, over the past couple years, has slowly become my all-time favorite console. So with that in mind, let's get into our retro gaming segment, the Sega Saturn. Okay, if you ain't ever played the Sega Saturn or even know what the hell it is, it was the console Sega made to compete with the N64 and the PlayStation back in the day. It don't get as much love as the Genesis or the Dreamcast, but it do got a goated library. But what's made it my favorite console recently is the community surrounding it. I have never seen such a dedicated group of nerds, all with the common goal to make a video game console as peak as humanly possible. And they've been accomplishing this with ROM hacks, translations, homebrews, hardware, all kinds of stuff. Like, I recently bought a cart called the Sega Saturn Kai that allows you to play burnt CDRs without having to do the disc swap technique, which, thank God, the disc swap was such a pain in the ass. But now I'm able to try all kinds of stuff on my Saturn. Cube Cat, Hell Slave, Bulk Slash with an English dub. Not just a translation, a dub. They got whole voice actors type beat. And the ROM hack that fully converted me, the Doom Saturn fix. The Doom Saturn fix. Y'all gotta understand, Doom on Sega Saturn was such a tragedy. It wasn't even like the 3DO port of Doom, where, like, the story behind it was funny. Rest in peace to Rebecca, by the way. But nah, the Saturn port was just tragic, because they had a working game, and then John Carmack got, like, all, actually about it, because, I don't know, some texture rendering they used wasn't to his liking, so they had to remake the whole John. And it ended up playing pretty much like 3DO Doom, like a PowerPoint presentation. It was a 2-pack of ass. But someone, for the most recent Sega Saturn homebrewing competition, which, yes, the community got whole competitions to see who can make the best Saturn stuff. He pretty much just made a fixed Doom port. So now it don't play like absolute doo-doo feces. And then on top of that, you can also patch in the 3DO soundtrack. So you can play Doom on Saturn with a passable frame rate and to the 3DO music. Bravo. Bravo. So yeah, as of the recording of this episode, the Sega Saturn has effectively usurped all other consoles and has become my all-time favorite video game console. And you know what? It works, because on top of everything I just told you, a lot of games from the Saturn's library is very nostalgic for me. A lot of goated arcade ports of games like Die Hard, Virtua Fighter, Daytona USA. So yeah, lots of fun stuff, old and new. And speaking of old and new stuff, A$AP Rocky finally dropped Don't Be Dumb. So that brings us to the music portion of the episode. Now, I've only heard the album once so far while at the gym, so I can't give a final verdict of it right now, but what I'm hearing, I'm liking. It's definitely gonna be better than the Carter 6. It definitely gonna rank higher than the Carter 6 for sure. Y'all have no idea what that album did to me. I try to defend it here and there because I do like some songs from the Carter 6, but I'm always getting eviscerated in my stream chat, in multiple group chats. It's like, I'm glad I can finally move on to a different goat of mine's album and it not be trash. I got 2 contenders for favorite song off the album. Air Force goes hard. Robbery also goes hard. I don't know which one is my favorite yet, but one of them is my favorite. I also been debating making another XQC video because apparently he had another, I want to say interesting, but it wasn't really an interesting take. He just said the new A$AP Rocky album trash and then started bumping Too Slimy like the professional rage baiter he is. And it got me thinking, like, bruh, he's had Drake on stream. Stole Your Flow was obviously a Drake diss. Between Aiden Ross, Academics, and now XQC here, it's obvious what's going on. Subtlety has never been the OV ho's strong suit. Look, all I'm saying is, it's kind of weird that all the hardest Drake glazers and Drake defenders who have nothing but terrible things to say about all Drake's ops happen to be people who've had Drake on stream, happen to be people who Drake has had joint business ventures with. That is not a conspiracy. That is a crystal clear observation of what is going on. So another video about XQC's music takes is probably not worth the effort. The first time was probably just a fluke, because he said something mad funny that I could roast him for about like 10 minutes or so. Now it's just a matter of, will I ever find a physical copy of Don't Be Dumb out in the wild? Because while I love physical media, ordering online to my house has been, certain companies don't like to cooperate. Which brings us to the physical media portion of the episode, which is also technically a music portion. I finally got to listen to College Dropout the whole way through during a long road trip because I found a CD. I was so hyped. You have no idea. Every place I found College Dropout on CD, it was ridiculously expensive. Some places were charging $40. I've seen some places charge $100 even. And then my one signature store that never let me down. They will never, ever let me down. Get up, I get down. Get up, I get down. Was selling it for $10. $10. I rushed to the register, and it has not left my car since. It's classic Kanye. And Through the Wire has been especially hitting hard because an old mouth injury of mine has resurfaced. Pause. I'm gonna say pause. I'm getting ahead of it. Lord knows if I say something about a pain in my jaw, in my mouth, Eastside finna be in my comments right away talking that shit. I love my regulars. I love my regulars on stream. They're fun. So what has Doom been working on, music-wise? Well, I've mentioned it once or twice on stream before, but I personally am trying to, how do I put it? I'm trying to make my own genre, or at least my own subgenre. Me and the boys thought of it while at Wawa, so we calling it Wawa Jerk. It's a blend of jazz fusion, city pop, and like jerk. Think Savior so based if he sampled the Rippingtons. It should be fun. I got a bunch of beats made. I'm currently in the writing process. It's taking a little longer than my usual because I'm changing my process a bit. I'm trying to get the mixes down. Your boy has lost a handful of beat battles and things of that nature due to his mixing. So I'm partially using this new project to kind of work on that. In the meantime, I got another Smoke Sessions, a Smoke Sessions 3 in the vault in case I take too long. It'll be my little sorry for the wait. But nah, this new batch of songs should be fun, especially since I'm trying to make this Wawa Jerk a thing. Part of what I liked so much about the Sector Complex was that, like, it was funk, it was drift funk, but it wasn't really drift funk. It was kind of its own thing. And when you get to do your own thing genre-wise, you kind of get to make up the rules as you go, which means you can make a song about damn near anything. And that's always the funnest part for me. Just finding a fun or weird concept and just rolling with it. And who knows, I might throw in an Evals chapter. I might throw in a Stoner's cookbook dish or just completely new concepts altogether. It should be fun. It should be fun. It's just gonna take a bit for the songs to finally come out. But when I do, be ready. All right, sports segment time. I do not feel like talking about Kevin Pachulo tonight. That could be a video all in its own right, you know. Nah. I'm not ruining my evening by getting myself wound up over that. Instead, I'm gonna get myself wound up over WMAC Masters. So, for anyone who ain't been following my streams regularly, WMAC Masters is a show from the 90s we were watching, produced by 4Kids, of all people. Like, before they got the rights to Pokemon and made all kinds of money off that, they made this, like, WWE if it were martial arts thing called WMAC Masters. And low-key, it was tough. Like, it had a super futuristic 90s style to it. The choreography was great. The music slapped. I liked Olympus's backstory. I liked the machine. The plot twist with Tsunami at the very end was, like, mind-blowing. It was like, yo, no, not Tsunami. But then it just ends. It just ends. We never get to figure out what happens to the Dragon Star. The Dragon Star was like the big trophy you win at the end. The Jaquito, which was like this group of martial artists that were banned from the WMAC, hit the most devious lick and took off with the Dragon Star. And as far as we know, they still have it to this day. because they never finished that plotline. But you know what? It ended with Chameleon being the WMAC champion and she a baddie, so I guess I can't complain too much. This was fun. I liked doing this. I'm gonna keep doing Saturn sessions. I don't know if I'm gonna make this a weekly or monthly thing just yet, but regardless, I hope you enjoyed my Yap session. This Club Doom signing out, and I'll catch y'all later on Saturn Sessions Episode 2. Sweet nectar.